So our favorite part of everything that we do, like all the effort that we put into keeping Atticus able to sail offshore, to live remotely, we do it all because we love getting to get out into nature and living in wild, remote parts of the world. The feeling of waking up in our own home, poking our heads outside and seeing nothing but wilderness all around us is a totally indescribable feeling, and it's like my favorite thing in the world. But in order for us to produce these weekly videos, we need to regularly have fast and reliable internet, which is something that is hard or impossible to find in a lot of really remote parts of the world. So that balancing act of heading off grid and then rushing back to civilization is a challenge that we've had to kind of figure out ever since the beginning of our sailing adventures. For instance, when we were in Belize and wanted to spend 2 weeks exploring the offshore atolls, we had to hunker down and edit for a month straight, nothing but editing, until we had enough videos in the bank, uploaded and scheduled to cover our time off grid. Now at that time in developing countries like Belize, decent internet was really hard to come by. So Desiree actually spent a lot of her time ashore just tracking down decent Wi-Fi.
Well, this place felt too good to be true. It started pouring rain, and ever since then the internet has just not been working. So anyways, I'm gonna pack up, unfortunately, and try again. The wild goose chase continues.
So then I'd have to pack up all my stuff, go to a new spot, and I'd end up in some really weird places.
Well, I was walking to try to find the reggae bar, which someone told me might have good internet. And I actually stopped by BTL, which is the major service provider in Belize. So they said I could use their Wi-Fi here, and so see how that goes.
Now back then, to get weather information when we were off grid, we would use WeatherFax, which is basically a program on my computer that could decipher audio signals that we would get over the radio. I'm receiving WeatherFax images right now. Here's the Yucatan Peninsula. Here we are. You've got this thing hanging off the south coast of Cuba, but that's not unusual. Now these images over the WeatherFax were great. I mean, they were better than nothing, but the scale was huge. So we didn't have a lot of information on the area that actually affected us, and it was really unreliable. Now in the years since we started sailing, cellular technology has come a long, long way. And recently we've been getting basically all of our internet using cellular data. So we'll just get a local SIM card when we arrive somewhere and then just hotspot off of our phones and upload episodes and do all of our internet stuff using cellular data. This has worked pretty well for a while now, and in fact, we even used this method while living off-grid in the early days of the pandemic in Panama. If we look up forward, we can see the reason that we came to this anchorage in the first place, the cell towers from Bocas Town. Now, even though this is a huge improvement to the ways we used to get internet, it's still not perfect. We have to be relatively close to a cell tower. Most of the time, that means we have to be in civilization, and if not, we're basically just outside of it. But now, that is all about to change forever. And that is because of this bad boy. Ah ha ha ha. I know what you're thinking. This is the pinnacle of internet technology, and it looks like a white piece of plastic. But that is because it is a Starlink antenna. Don't they call it Dishy? They always have really cool names. Elon, you funny namer, you. So this is a Starlink antenna. This is the RV or roaming antenna. So it's meant to be used for people camping, in motorhomes, and yes, it can be used by people on sailboats. And real quick, I should mention why we chose the RV version, which is actually now called the Roam version, instead of the maritime version. So they actually have a Starlink that is designed for boats 100%, but it's kind of specifically geared towards giving boats internet out in the middle of the ocean and not just all along the world's coastlines. And so for some reason, it's way, way more expensive than the Roam version. Not really sure what the deal is there, but I think it's important for us to say that this is kind of an experiment for us. Starlink was not developed for cruising sailors. And in particular, this model of Starlink was not designed for sailboats. And so this is gonna be an experiment for for us to see how well this works, where it works, what the downsides are, the problems, all of that. I've gotten a lot of feedback from other sailors that have Starlink, and it seems to be working fine. I've actually heard that it works fine from the East Coast of the United States all the way to the Bermuda. So there's a decent chance that this is gonna give us internet in the middle of the ocean. We just don't know yet, but it's worth trying this system first because it's so much cheaper. Now, the way that Starlink works is we're basically going to be getting internet from low orbit satellites. And so that way the latency is low enough for us to actually communicate and send packets back and forth. But for low orbit satellites to be able to work and create broad coverage, there needs to be a ton of these satellites. And that is what SpaceX kind of brought to the table here. They have the world's largest satellite constellation, and they were able to pull that off because SpaceX is doing more flights to space than anyone ever. If you look at their schedule, they're doing like 3 or 4 launches every month. And with each launch, they're deploying like 50 new satellites. It is nuts. It gives me goosebumps just watching that. I feel like we are at such a huge moment in human history. And what's exciting about this Starlink project that we're starting is that we're gonna kind of take part in that. So the first thing I need to figure out is where I'm going to actually put this giant dish thing. It has to have a really good clear view of the sky that can't be obstructed even a part of the time. So finding a spot on the boat where we could actually put it that it would have that unobstructed view of the sky is not easy. We've got stuff up in the sky all over the place, masts, wires, solar panels. So it's originally designed to just go into a base mount that you can set on the ground. A lot of people on sailboats are using that base mount, but I wasn't a fan of that. I didn't want to just put it loosey-goosey on the boat. I wanted to be able to use it while we were sailing. I don't want this to be a completely permanent installation because it's just not designed to be out in the salt water 24/7. It's not designed to handle super strong winds, so it needs to be removable. Now, the obvious place to put this would be up on the solar arch where we have our other antennas, but it's so big that it would block a lot of sunlight on the solar panels. So the spot that I arrived on was on the side of the bimini. So we needed to have some sort of a mount fabricated for this. And I actually went to my boy here in Malta. His name is Darren from DJ Engineering here in Malta. He actually cut the center of that RV base with 4 legs and turned it on a lathe so that it was cylindrical and then pressed it into this metal tube. And then this will actually mount onto the structure of the bimini to get the dish up and away from the bimini. And yet it's got exactly that inside bit so that this should be able to click right onto it. Whoa, how badass is that? I highly suggest finding a metal fabricator that you like and trust and enjoy working with because it's awesome. All right, so let's mount this bad boy. And what's really cool is that the dish will automatically orient itself to the satellite, so it'll tilt and spin to achieve the maximum signal strength. Yeah, so I'm really happy with that. I think that's gonna work perfect. I mean, first of all, it's got a totally unobstructed view of the sky. Like even the mast is way over that way, the boom won't affect it. In a lot of ways, this is less than ideal. Like it's on the bimini structure itself, which the bimini structure is, you know, not as sturdy as the solar panel arch. But again, we're not gonna keep this up in super violent storms. The whole point of this thing is that it's removable. So I mean, I should be able to just grab this and yeah, there you go. Once the storm is past, we can just put it back in. I won't do this one-handed. This will be a lot more graceful when I'm not holding a camera. There we go. Okay, and then it's in. So the wire that we're gonna run to that dish is going to terminate at this Starlink router. Then we'll be able to more or less connect our local network to this. And we're gonna be putting this Starlink router as well as our other router, as well as all of our networking stuff behind this TV where me and my dad installed that shelf and where we've got this NAS device. So now I've got to run all of this cable. Starlink, of course, has a proprietary connector, so you have to use this. Good thing is, it's definitely long enough. So I'm gonna run this bad boy all the way down the boat. I mean, I've got to run it close to 30 feet. I hate doing this part of any project. Running the cable, especially with the conduit here, it's just not easy to get to, so wish me luck. So it's hard to properly convey just how frustrating it can be to run wires through the boat. First of all, it takes forever. The issue being that the primary conduit in the boat is the space inside of the hull to deck joint, but that space is really hard to access, and at this point it's really packed with other wires and hoses, so it's getting harder and harder to add more to that conduit. Now there's several methods to try to run wires through the boat, and today I'm using a fish stick. So basically a thin fiberglass rod that helps me shove the conductor and wire up into the conduit. But then I need to try to figure out where that connector and wire is and pull it out of that next compartment before I can start the process all over again.
All right, yeah, success. That's our cable right there.
And yes, I know that there are other ways of using a fish stick. There are other ways to run wires through conduit. This was working for me, so I went for it.
Man, installing stuff is tough work, isn't it, buddy? Yeah, you go ahead and just take a break, all right? You've been doing a great job.
So the wire is run to right here, which is where we want it. So the next step is we got to run that wire outside, out of the boat. So I got a Blue Sea Systems through deck clam. I don't know why they call it a clam, but anyway, I'm going to basically drill a hole into the bulwark here, use this device to make it so that is a watertight seal so water can't get in, and then run the rest of the cable. Okay, so the wire is run, it's connected to the dish, and so now we just gotta hook up the router, hook the router up to our local network router, wire it, connect it, plug it all in, and get this compartment as tidy as I can. Okay, so that's all connected. So according to Elon Musk's instructions, I set up the dish. It is looking at the sky. I connected it to the router and the router to power. Now I just need to open up the Starlink app on my phone. This is literally all the directions that it came with. It's pretty awesome. I like that. Now I did set it up already, so it's been calibrating. It says that we are online. By the way, check out the name of our Wi-Fi network. Oh, that's hilarious. Anyway, okay, let's check out the speed test. So, whoa, look at that. 100 and, good God. That's like the fastest internet we've ever had. And the other really exciting thing is that our NAS is connected to it at all times. In the past, the bummer has been if I start uploading a large episode or a large file, it's all dependent on the computer. So if the computer crashes or if something happens with the computer, we have to completely restart the whole process. This way, this will just kind of keep uploading anything we give it until it's done, and the computer can be totally off. Doesn't matter. So, this is like super nerdy, but for me, like I've been living with this insane internet problem for 8 years now, and I feel like that problem is more or less solved, right? Everything from having to find Wi-Fi ashore to figure out SIM cards when we get to every new country. Some countries it's really expensive, some countries the internet's really slow. All of that is just more or less over now. This is just such a game changer, so, yeah. What do you think, bud? Internet.
Yeah, we're all very excited, aren't we? Put your hands up, Elon Musk. Woo woo. Yeah, we did it. Oh, so happy too. Oh, yes, internet. So does that mean we can literally watch Netflix anywhere? Like in the middle of the ocean?
You can watch as much Netflix as you want, buddy.
So I'm literally never leaving the boat now.
Yeah. Oh, so excited.
Yeah.
He's like, maybe that means we can play tug anywhere in the world.
Look, I'm like Netflix.
Okay, so gonna test out this Starlink internet and call my folks. Do a video chat, see how it works.
Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning, how are you, Mom? I'm testing our Starlink. I finally installed it, so can you turn on your video? I am recording for the episode, though.
Oh no, I'm not dressed.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Jordan. You are going to be on the episode. Yeah, oh, not that way.
Hey, how's it going, big guy? So you want to see little Issa? Say hi to Grandpa.
Hi.
And there's Oso, wanting attention. Yeah, so how's our connection?
It seems perfect.
Yeah, it's so different from when we first started sailing. Like, trying to keep up with you guys would be, you know, not the easiest task. And it's kind of nuts that within 8 years now, there will be no difference for us from a person ashore.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you guys no matter where you are.
Yeah, this will be great. You'll get to say every little moment of Isabella growing up. That'll be great. Say hi to Grandpa.
There he is. There's Grandpa. Hi. And then smile for Grandpa.
Yeah, smile.
And then smile. Come on.
Hi, baby.
Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Oso's like, I'll smile.
Oso, smile. Smile. Good boy.